Listen, watching your kids all day is really hard. Why don't you drop them off at free daycare? Public schools and the federal government, they'll take care of your kids for you just fine. This is Rachel Levine. This is the Assistant Secretary of Health. This is the person that's in charge of creating policies for health issues. Unfortunately, some of the health policies she's come up with lately just basically deal with child grooming. And she has put forth some guidelines that say all children need gender affirming care. Let's dig into this just a little bit. So, according to the New York Post, Assistant Secretary of Health Rachel Levine has dismissed critics of new federal guidelines that recommend gender affirming care for transgender minors, saying that no doctor worth their salt opposes it. Gender affirming care refers to the use of puberty blockers and hormone therapy on kids and adolescents who identify as transgender. Levine, who is transgender, made the comments to NPR last week while criticizing states such as Florida and Texas for questioning the practice. Okay, so let's dig into this just a little bit. Rachel Levine, who, as I mentioned, was a man just a little while ago, but now he thinks that it's a woman. Okay? It's not a woman. But anyway, this person's, I guess, agenda, their hopes and dreams, I'm not sure. They want to turn all little kids into trannies, just like them. A little bit weird, a little bit dangerous. But hear me out. I think what he is doing is a good policy. Kids that are questioning or they're not sure about their gender, you definitely should jack them up full of hormones and puberty blockers and make them trannies. Little baby trannies running around. Now, I did mention that Rachel Levine quite recently was a man. And there he is. There he is, that handsome fella. Yeah, it used to be Richard Levine, Wakefield, Massachusetts. Let me just look at that handsome face for a minute. I kind of understand why he wanted to be a woman. Never mind. Okay. She said such opposition leads to the harassment and scapegoating and intentional abuse of transgender kids. There is no argument among medical professionals, pediatricians, pediatric endocrinologists, adolescent medicine physicians, adolescent psychiatrists, psychologists, etc., about the value and importance of gender-affirming care, she told NPR. Now, you got to understand, this person's goal is to make as many tranny kids as possible. They need gender-affirming care. And if your child thinks that they might be a different gender, boom, this person is going to jack them up with testosterone, estrogen, whatever the opposite thing they're supposed to get when they're going through puberty. Now, she's mad at Florida and Texas because they are pushing back on the federally recommended practice of jacking up kids full of anti-gender hormones. Now, what we're going to do is, I'll leave this on here for just a second. This is the Florida Surgeon General. He says, nope, not in Florida. Man, it sure seems like Florida's getting a lot of stuff right over there. They are not going against the federal guidelines for masks or gender-affirming care for kids. And I think Miami went full Bitcoin because the Federal Reserve is printing a little bit of money, and I know Florida's got a lot of things going right. And my God, the weather is nice, and fresh produce, oranges, pineapples, and never mind. Anyway, so now this hormone care and the puberty blockers. Let's talk about that for just 10 seconds. Now, Dr. Levine wants to inject or administer. Let's take for example a little girl, young girl, 10 years old. She says, "Nope, I want to be a boy. I'm really a boy. No, I can't be a girl. I'm a boy." Well, according to Levine's recommendations, she doesn't have to tell her parents, and the school nurse or Planned Parenthood or some physician can give this young girl ridiculous amounts of testosterone and some other chemicals that will block puberty. Now, what happens is this girl, in the part of her life where she's supposed to develop her reproductive organs, that doesn't happen. And if you miss that window, they never happen. This girl is now sterile. She will never be able to have kids. Now, a 10-year-old doesn't have the ability to make a decision like that will affect the next 70 years of her life. No kids, no grandkids. And I gotta tell you, it might not look good for marriage potential either, because, oh yeah, you found this nice guy and he wants kids, and oh, sorry, I took a bunch of hormones when I was a kid, now I can't have kids. Listen, that guy's gonna move on. Her life is ruined unless she wants to be a pretend boy for the rest of her life, wear plaid, be a lumberjack, go bowling, I don't know, whatever she thinks guys should do. Same thing happens with guys, little boys. You block their puberty, you jam them full of estrogen, their sexual parts don't develop either. And they are now also sterile for the rest of their life. They'll never have kids. I mean, you can't even save sperm for later to try and do artificial insemination. Those parts just don't work. They're gone. They're broken. They're never coming back. Your family tree just stopped forever. Part of the plan to transition all the kids is getting the elementary teachers involved. You got to catch them while they're young, obviously. Here's a memo or a flyer that was published by the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario, ETFO. Now, this is in Whitby, Ontario. It's in Canada, but this is still a perfect example of how teachers are getting involved with the youngest of kids to get them started on their trans journey. Got to catch them while they're young. Now, this one features the LGBTTTTIQQ. Stop. Might as well earn glyphs and cuneiforms in there, because this doesn't make any sense anymore. But they want to talk about lesbian, gay, genderqueer, bisexual, demisexual, transgender, transsexual, two-spirit, intersex, queer, questioning, asexual, allies, pansexual, and polyamorous. Can you imagine a 6-year-old kid going, Miss Teacher, what's pansexual? Yeah, they're gonna tell them. Miss Teacher, what's genderqueer? Hold on, I'll draw you a picture. Listen, these teachers, they're involved with your kids, and they're going to answer all these questions, because this is inclusiveness training. You can see it right there. The executive stewards and other interested members, featuring a presentation by Dr. Barb Perry, Monday, June, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know if this is next year or coming up or last year. It doesn't really matter. Here's some stuff that I want to make sure that you know about. Our goal here is to become more familiar with current language, sensitive to current issues, and to share best practices in supporting our LGBT peers and students. It says fewer than 1% of ETFO members are open with their identities, though some surveys suggest as much as half of the public secretly identifies as LGBT to some extent. If we want students to succeed, if we want to reduce staff anxiety and stress, we need to create a much more welcoming and accepting environment. If we want students to succeed in what? What is their goal? I know what their goal is. Their goal is to put them on puberty blockers, jack them up with hormones, and make little trannies, little baby trannies running around everywhere. That's their goal. They're telling you that's what they want. And I gotta say, I'm still okay with it. It's fine. I think this is just fine. The reason why is because this specifically targets broken families and low-income families. This is devastating to single moms and to people that need both parents to work full-time jobs. They can't be involved with their kids. They can't I mean, they come home from work, they're exhausted. They need to cook dinner. They need to do laundry. They don't have time to sit down and, hey, how was your day? What did you learn? They're just going to let the kids do it. This is daycare for them. They expect the government just to raise them. Oh, they're going to raise them all right. Just wait and see what you get. I know I said I support these policies, and I do, but not for the reasons you think. This is devastating to single moms and broken families. It doesn't affect intact religious families. Husband and wife. Husband works all day. Wife is home taking care of the kids. Homeschoolers. People that have a religious background. People that have morals. People that talk to their kids. This won't affect them at all. Little Johnny comes home and he says, Mom, the teachers told us we should have anal sex, and the mom is going to go, oh, sorry, we're not going to that school anymore. You're homeschooled now, forever. They don't get affected by this at all. Parents that are involved, their kids are going to be just fine. This only affects the weakest people of society. So, although this is utterly devastating, think about it 20 years from now. The libs and the Democrats, they're all sterile. They can't have kids. Their whole community is broken and dead and dying. Conservatives, Republicans, independents, libertarians, they are going to blow you guys out of the water. You think Trump was bad? Wait till you get 12 Trumps in a row. You don't stand a chance, and you're never going to see it coming.